Hey guys, welcome back. Now, I don't think this is like a very hot take to have, but it's pretty obvious at this point, after all these years of scandals and controversies, that Hollywood is full of really strange, creepy people who do really weird things that most of us would find reprehensible, I think, in normal day-to-day life. I don't think that's like that much of a hot take. A perfect example of that is a lot of the stuff coming out of Season 4 of The Boys. A show that has been definitely divisive to a certain degree. There's a lot of people who find a lot of the things in the show to be too reprehensible to watch. For me personally, I got through a couple episodes of the first season and I was like, I could keep watching it. I just wasn't that interested. And then it seems like the show has gone like way off the deep end with just trying to one-up every previous episode with the level of debauchery and gore and everything else. It sounds like it's completely turned into a massive shit show. That being said, there's this controversy going on around the most recent episode about a scene where a male character who is already going through a very traumatic experience gets sexually assaulted by another man in some sort of sex dungeon cave where it's supposed to be this kinky weirdo Batman character. I think they call him Tech Knight on The Boys. And it just feeds into the absolute degeneracy that Hollywood has turned into, and I get it. Hollywood has always been full of weirdos, full of degenerates and freaks, and that's kind of the nature of people that want to get into the acting industry. These are entertainers. I mean, people that want to be famous for a reason and have their face in front of the camera 24/7. You imagine that they're not quite firing on all cylinders. They're different kind of people. But now we're seeing things about characters, actors from this show. From an anonymous leaker, and I know it's just an accusation, it's anonymous, you take these things with a grain of salt, as we should, about Anthony Starr, the actor who plays Homelander. Allegedly, he bullied somebody out of the acting industry, Dominique McElligott, somebody who was on The Boys with him. He's been accused of being a bully, beating people up on more than one occasion. And again, this just feeds into a lot of the stereotypes about actors and the entertainment industry as a whole. And I get it. We have people that enjoy Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, but at the end of the day, you can't tell me that these people who simulate sex and walk around naked, like this recent episode of House of the Dragon where a man has this fully erect penis just flopping around out in the wind, you can't tell me that these people have normal, healthy relationships. I don't buy it. I think this feeds into a lot of what we see, where you wonder how the Weinsteins of the world are created, and it's people who are in these positions where they don't have a normal 9-to-5 type job. They don't have normal relationships with people. There's a lot of this deep-seated underbelly of Hollywood that's been exposed over the last 10-15 years with people like Weinstein, with Epstein, with a lot of the other degenerate weirdos that have been exposed. And unfortunately, what we're seeing now involves somebody who I guess we should have all kind of expected it from. And again, allegations are allegations, but some are definitely more believable than others. One of them being Neil Gaiman, the creator of the Sandman series, the franchise. Now, this article from the Substack for Fandom Pulse kind of highlights why, what is obviously a media blackout of sorts on this topic. There are definitely some outlets that are covering it, and I'm not going to say that there's nobody covering it, but it is weird that it is not getting the kind of media attention that other stories keep getting. And for example, we'll get into that in a minute. So this article from Fandom Pulse says, why is mainstream entertainment media completely silent on the Neil Gaiman allegations? Now, if you're not quite sure what the allegations are, long and the short of it, he's been accused of assault by 2 different women. Now, one of them was by a woman who allegedly he had entered into a relationship with when she was 18 and he was 42. Then there were some things that apparently transpired that she said she did not consent to. And again, that's an old allegation, hearsay. How do you prove it? I don't know. More recently, he was 62 years old and he asked a woman who was coming over to be a nanny to come in his tub with him. And he says that they cuddled, that they embraced, but that it didn't go beyond that. She claims that he assaulted her. Again, very strange that a 62-year-old man would hire a woman to come over to his house. A few hours later, he undresses, climbs in the bathtub, and then he asks her to get in with him. Very weird behavior, very creepy behavior by these people who, like I said, don't live normal lives like the rest of us. So the article here goes on to say the strange part about the allegations is Neil Gaiman doesn't deny that there was any contact with the women. He alleges it was consensual. One of the incidents with the young nanny, according to Tortoise, who was the one that originally broke this story, attributes to his words, has him inviting her to his tub within mere hours of their meeting, in which he claims they cuddled and made out. Perhaps these allegations are too embarrassing to Gaiman, who's been held up as one of the most popular writers in the woke era of entertainment. Gaiman's brand of dark edginess in his work includes a lot of strange, dark innuendo, which reveal his psyche, including a giant female organ swallowing a person in American Gods, as well as blasphemy against Christ in an obscene manner in his novel Neverwhere. Yeah, this is a guy who has very much been a Trump derangement syndrome sufferer. He's somebody who's been very pro the woke agenda. He has been proudly declared himself woke. He's outed himself as a male feminist many times. He's personally said believe all women. And of course, the article here goes on to say the media usually takes a stance of believe all women in situations like this, but Neil Gaiman seems immune to any criticism because of his status within the industry, which is a marked difference from any other strange situation in comics or speculative fiction. Recent cancellations based on allegations in these circles have included Warren Ellis, who was accused of sending dirty DMs to an online prostitute. Cameron Stewart was accused of flirting with girls from his convention. Ed Piskor, who we did talk about on the channel a few months ago, was revealed to be sending dirty messages to somebody who was too young. In all these instances, the incidents were mass reported by media outlets like Bleeding Cool, Comic Book Resources, and others, which led to their immediate firings without any trial. However, one only has to do a cursory search across these sites, the File 770 Gossip Blog, Reactor, IGN, Comics Beat, or any other nerd culture site, and one will see no mention of anything that is occurring regarding Gaiman. Which, again, is very odd. And of course, you can see for yourself. I actually checked it out. I searched Kotaku for Neil Gaiman because I wanted to contrast this to what was been going on with the coverage of Dr. Disrespect, the YouTuber who has been accused and admitted to messaging a minor. Now, again, this is a situation where he is having his entire life canceled, and you could argue rightfully so. I'm not defending Dr. Disrespect, but the amount of articles that Kotaku has pumped out over him admitting that he simply messaged a minor inappropriately is, dozens, probably over a dozen articles in the last few weeks alone about Dr. Disrespect. You search Kotaku for any mention of Neil Gaiman, and there's nothing other than a few things about comics or video games, okay? You go to IGN and you try to find anything about Neil Gaiman, and you can find nothing. The last time they wrote an article about Neil Gaiman, I believe, was 3 months ago, back in April. If you Google Neil Gaiman in this situation, you will find some people writing articles like Rolling Stone, Jerusalem Post, Comic Book Resources, some that definitely have more of a incentive, it seems, to try to defend him, at least in the way that they portray their headlines. Others that are just flat out telling the story and saying he has been accused of assault, he's been, allegations exist against him. But the weird thing is that there are several sites that are doing their best to run cover for this man, despite the fact that his own words, he has been happy to cancel anybody else along the way who has ever been accused by a woman, whether there's been credible evidence to it or not, whether or not these have been lies that have ruined people's lives, even resulted in them ending their own lives. But there are still many outlets in the mainstream media who refuse to cover this. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and talk about it in this video, because I know this isn't going to get a lot of views, and that's okay. This is a story that needs to be shared. People need to hear these kind of things, because unfortunately, by ignoring these situations, by not talking about when there are allegations and people that might be credible, it just enables these people to keep doing this kind of shit. And unfortunately, there's a reason the Me Too movement has discredited a lot of women, because unfortunately, anytime you start leveling allegations against people with no evidence, it's going to paint a picture that most women are lying. Even if the majority of them are telling the truth, there are such a large number of women who have ruined men's lives with false allegations, and people like this, these male feminists, have gone out of their way to try to defend these women, and unfortunately it's resulted in some situations in someone ending their own life. So I'm going to leave it right there. You guys let me know what you think about all this. I mean, I don't want you to try to speculate about whether he did this or not, but it is very likely in this scenario that even if he didn't, this is still weird, creepy, disturbing, predatory behavior by a man who was in an open relationship with his wife before they even got a divorce a few years ago. So this is just a guy living a completely debaucherous lifestyle. I wouldn't be surprised if it was true, but I'm going to leave it right there. You guys let me know what you think about all this. Again, thanks for being here. It's just a massive blessing to have you guys with us along the, for the ride, and I will catch you guys on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.